Well, we're so close to the start of the 2024-25 OHL regular season. The season actually getting underway on Wednesday. I did a power rankings video to kick off the regular season. If you haven't seen that video, you can always click the link. I'll put that right here. But this video, a bit of a news video to update you on some rosters. Starting out with the Soo Greyhounds, they have added from off waivers Camerin Cardona. He was playing with the Tri-City Americans last season, and he went through waivers, and the Greyhounds have announced that they have signed Cardona. He's from Anaheim, California, so a bit of a difference going from the West Coast to Northern Ontario, but I think he's going to get some good opportunities for ice time here with the Soo Greyhounds. He has dealt with some injuries over these last two seasons, only 53 games over two seasons with the Americans. In Tri-City, just 14 games last year, 1 assist, so he's looking to get his career back on track. He's a smaller player, 5'11", 163 pounds, but I do believe he'll be getting some good chances and ice time with this Greyhounds team, who's just looking for a bit of a boost in the depth for their offensive capabilities. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Another roster move, Cedrickson Okatundu. He's going to be playing his overage season in the Western Hockey League. He spent the last 2 seasons with the Bulldogs organization, but he went through waivers, and the Raiders have announced they have signed the defenseman. Okatundu, a stay-at-home defenseman. He played really well over his last couple of years with the Bulldogs. With Okatundu moving on, that means that the Brantford Bulldogs overage situation has been sorted out heading into the regular season. So they've decided to go with Zachary Lavoie, Ben Boujod, and Patrick Thomas. And for the Ontario Hockey League and the rest of the CHL, you're only allowed to dress 3 overagers per game. If you do have more overagers in your lineup, they have to be healthy scratches, and you have to get down to the 3 overager limit by the trade deadline, which of course is January 10th. But it is good to see that Okatundu will get a chance to play in the Canadian Hockey League. Typically, we see OHLers go to the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League, not often the other way around. But still, congrats to Okatundu getting a position with the Raiders, and it'll be interesting to see how that transition is going from the O to the Dub. Now, one more roster item to touch on. The Ottawa 67s have made a decision in net, and they have released Ian Michelone. He'll be pursuing other opportunities. And with Michelone, the one thing that stood out for him last season was his mask. He had an Ed Belfour kind of mask with the Eagles on the side. It looked sharp. I loved Michelone's mask. He went from Windsor to Ottawa at the trade deadline last year, and the 67s deciding to stick with the goaltenders that they have currently, with Mackenzie going into his overage season, and with Nelson, the young netminder who's up and coming, will be getting a little more ice time in the crease of the Ottawa 67s. The one other thing that's exciting when you start a brand new year are the prospects going into 2024-25. And TSN analyst Bob Mackenzie released his rankings for the upcoming 2025 NHL entry draft. And Bob Mackenzie does a great job putting together these lists of what the scouts are looking for as the potential candidates for first overall and so forth. And Mackenzie's ranking, he actually lists 5 players from the Ontario Hockey League. So right now, number 1 is James Hagens from Boston College. He's the early pick to go first overall in next summer's NHL entry draft. But sitting at number 2 is an OHL prospect, Matthew Schaefer of the Erie Otters. Now, Schaefer, it was revealed, he's going to miss the start of the season due to mono, which is a tough setback because it can throw a player off quite a bit. It takes time to recover from mono and then get your energy levels back. So hopefully Schaefer will be able to get back into the swing of things sooner rather than later, because he did have a solid performance at the Hlinka Gretzky tournament representing Team Canada. And last year, he didn't really get the points that many expected. 3 goals, 17 assists, 20 points in 56 games. I was kind of expecting Schaefer to take that next step, kind of like Cole Beaudoin of the Barrie Colts last year. But with mono knocking him out to the start of the season, it's going to take him a bit. But the Erie Otters poised for a deep run this year if they can get healthy, stay healthy, and get Matthew Schaefer back in the lineup. I think they could see some good things there with the Otters. Next is Porter Martone of the Brampton Steelheads. He came in 4th on Bob Mackenzie's list. he does have that aggressive style and can get under the skin of the opponents. And he'll be counted upon quite a bit this season for the Brampton Steelheads. They're one of the favorites from the Eastern Conference. I love Martone's game. It's fun to follow him out on the ice. He last year reached 33 goals on the season, 71 assists in 60 games. So he's over a point per game. And I think he could challenge Schaefer as the first player taken from the OHL in the 2025 NHL entry draft. We'll have to wait and see on that. Next up, Michael Misa of the Saginaw Spirit, 7th on the list to Bob Mackenzie. I am a little surprised, though, because for Michael Misa last season, it seemed like he would challenge for top spot, but he's kind of slipped a little. And I almost wonder if, because he was down on the depth chart a bit with Saginaw Spirit last year with going for that run for the Memorial Cup. This year, though, Misa will be counted upon more for the offensive side. And he was tied for second in points in the OHL preseason. So kind of a sign of things to come, potentially, for Michael Misa. And I'm expecting a little more from the Saginaw forward going into this upcoming season. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's drafted higher than 7th come June. Now, Malcolm Spence, he is the second player to make an appearance from the Erie Otters on the rankings. The left winger, 8th on Bob's ranking. Spence, nearly a point per game last season for the Otters, whose goal was to snap that playoff drought. They were a success, and this year looking to go even further. Last year, it was a first-round exit to the Kitchener Rangers. Malcolm Spence and Matthew Schaefer will be counted upon for sure this season as they look for a deeper run. But I do like Malcolm Spence's game. You can count on him. He also has the size, 6'1", 203 pounds, and the scouts really liking what they see coming from Spence. Jake O'Brien of the Brantford Bulldogs, he was the final player to make the cut on Bob's list. He came in at 14th. Now, O'Brien, he was Rookie of the Year last year in the Ontario Hockey League, and I would not be surprised to see his draft stock climb even more. The Bulldogs looking to be a contender in the East, and after leading rookies in scoring last year, he's already leading the OHL in points for the preseason with 10 points. So I'm thinking this is a sign of things to come as well for O'Brien. He has that nose for the net, and he's going to be in, I think, for a very special season with the Brantford Bulldogs. Now, another 2 players to maybe keep an eye on ahead of the NHL draft in June. I know it's still early, but if you're planning to go to some OHL games this season and you want to see some prospects, another 2 players to potentially check out. Kayshawn Aitchison of the Barrie Colts, the defenseman. He's a very feisty individual. He basically plays on that line. He stands up for his teammates and always has a smile when he's out on the ice, no matter the situation. So Kayshawn Aitchison, one player to follow. Could be a late first-round pick. We'll have to wait and see how that all transpires. And then the highest-ranked goaltender in the NHL draft comes from the OHL, and that's Jack Ivankovic of the Brampton Steelheads. Right now, it looks like he could be maybe an early second-round pick going into the NHL draft. But Ivankovic, he's going to be the starter this season for the Brampton Steelheads, who are the heavy favorite. Expect his stock to rise going over the course of the regular season, as long as he can stay healthy. But still, all signs point that Jack Ivankovic might be the top goaltender in the 2025 NHL entry draft. So I just wanted to do a quick news video here and also look at some of the prospects going into the regular season. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on the upcoming 2025 NHL draft prospects. Who do you think will eventually become the first OHLer to have their name called at the draft? Love the interactions. Thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.